Disick intends to interfere in the relationship between Travis Barker and Kourtney Kardashian for his own benefit. Hi, before we continue, please subscribe to the channel for all Kardashians news and update. Disick is still not over Kourtney Kardashian. Even though she is now married to Travis Barker and living a new, happy life, Scott seems to be struggling to move on. Some people believe he might even be trying to break them up. Scott had Kourtney's love once, but he lost it, and it looks like he still wants her back. There were many reasons things didn't work out between them, and Scott's actions may have played a big part in why their love faded away. Back when their relationship started, Scott and Kourtney were young, and they had something very strong. Their love was real, and for a time, it looked like they might stay together forever. But over time, problems began to pile up. Scott started making bad choices. Some people think that becoming famous too quickly affected him, or that he just wasn't mature enough to handle a serious relationship. Kourtney gave him chance after chance, but he kept letting her down. She had big hopes for him, but he didn't meet those hopes. There was a time when Kourtney would have done anything for him. She truly loved him, but that kind of love only lasts if the other person gives back just as much, and Scott didn't. When Kourtney finally gave up and pulled away emotionally, that's when Scott suddenly realized what he had lost. Like someone who only wants something after it's gone, he started wanting her back again. It was a pattern that had repeated many times in their past. Their love story played out for the world to see on reality TV. On Keeping Up with the Kardashians, fans watched as they broke up and got back together over and over. For a long time, it felt like they were meant to be. People hoped they would work things out. But deep down, they were facing problems that were too big to ignore. When Kourtney met Travis and started falling in love with him, everything changed. It was like she had been waiting for something new, something better, and she finally found it. That's when she began to change. She started becoming someone different, someone stronger and more focused on her happiness. And Scott had to watch all of this from the outside. He seemed lost and hurt, as if he knew it was too late to fix anything. Lately, Scott has been spending more time with his kids. He is trying hard to be a present and loving father. Some people think he might be doing this to impress Kourtney or win back her approval. Others think he's trying to change for the better, maybe because he truly regrets the past. Still, no one can say for sure what's going on inside his heart. Maybe it's a little of both. Maybe he's trying to be the man Kourtney once believed he could be. But the truth is, it might be too late for that. Think of Kourtney's love for Scott like a beautiful garden. She watered it, cared for it, and hoped it would bloom. But instead, Scott brought fire. His struggles with addiction and being unfaithful damaged everything. There is a clip from their old reality show where Kourtney hears a woman's voice on Scott's phone. He gives her excuses, and she tries to believe him, but deep down she knows the truth. Even then, she wasn't ready to leave. Her heart was still full of love for him, and the thought of losing him was just too painful. She wanted to believe it could work. But the pain kept piling up. It's heartbreaking to see someone so loving and faithful go through such disappointment. Kourtney gave him more chances than he deserved. It's not easy to walk away from someone you love, especially when you've built so much together. But eventually, she realized that Scott was never going to give her the love she needed. That was the turning point. The emotional pain she went through again and again helped her see things more clearly. It made her stronger. It led her to a place where she could finally start dreaming again, without Scott holding her back. Staying with Scott would have meant accepting a love that always fell short. It would have meant being let down again and again. Kourtney reached a point where she had to ask herself, what's the point of staying in something that keeps breaking you? So, she left, and she didn't spend her time looking back in anger. She focused on building a better life, and that life included Travis Barker. Even now, Scott sometimes looks like he's thinking about what could have been. Maybe he's remembering the times when he and Kourtney were happy, or maybe he regrets the way things ended. But none of that changes the past. Kourtney did the right thing when she decided to stop hoping Scott would change. In truth, She probably should have made that decision sooner. When a man cheats and talks about another woman as if she's his wife, it's clear that he doesn't deserve your love. Scott made too many mistakes. He didn't treat Kourtney the way she deserved to be treated. His actions hurt her over and over, and yet she stayed longer than most people would. That says a lot about the kind of person she is. She believed in him. She saw the good in him. But love isn't just about hope. It's also about actions, and Scott's actions showed that he wasn't ready to be the kind of man Kourtney needed. He broke her heart too many times. Today, Kourtney is in a different place. She's married to someone who seems to love and respect her. Her life looks peaceful and full. She is no longer stuck in a cycle of heartbreak. That's something she had to fight for. It didn't happen overnight. It came after years of learning, hurting, and growing. Now, she's focused on her future, not her past. And Scott is just a part of the story that got her to where she is now. Still, Scott remains in her life because they share children. He has a role to play, and hopefully, he will continue to be a good father. Maybe that's the one area where he can still make a difference. Maybe focusing on being a better dad will help him find more meaning and healing. But as far as winning Kourtney back, that chapter is closed. Love stories don't always have happy endings. Sometimes, they end with lessons. Kourtney learned that she needed to love herself more than someone who didn't treat her right. Scott learned what it feels like to lose something truly valuable. That pain may stay with him for a long time. But in the end, both of them are walking their own paths now. Kourtney's path leads to joy and peace. Scott's path is still uncertain. What matters most is that Kourtney didn't let heartbreak stop her. She found the courage to move on and choose something better. That strength is what makes her story powerful. And even though Scott may still wish things had turned out differently, he can't go back in time. All he can do now is live with the results of the choices he made. So while the world watches and wonders if Scott will ever try to come between Kourtney and Travis, it's clear that the past cannot be undone. What's done is done. And Kourtney has already walked away from that old life. She's not waiting for anyone to catch up anymore. Staying with Scott would have meant accepting a love that always fell short. It would have meant being let down again and again. Kourtney reached a point where she had to ask herself, what's the point of staying in something that keeps breaking you? So, she left, and she didn't spend her time looking back in anger. She focused on building a better life, and that life included Travis Barker. Even now, Scott sometimes looks like he's thinking about what could have been. Maybe he's remembering the times when he and Kourtney were happy, or maybe he regrets the way things ended. But none of that changes the past. Kourtney did the right thing when she decided to stop hoping Scott would change. Thanks for watching. Please do well to share your thoughts in the comments, and don't forget to subscribe for more Kardashian updates.